After briefing everybody on the mission I was putting out to free the elves from the dungeon, I walked into the dining room and hoped they would all join me. However, not everyone met me in the dining room. As was to be expected, a few of them have families at home waiting for them. Though as each individual trickled into the dining room, they each gave me a nod acknowledging that they were all in. I was waiting for my friend to join us, but all I could hear from him was a very loud conversation with his wife. They didn't have children, but that was still no reason to think he would just leave her and join me in this jailbreak. My brothers kept watching the elves as they continued to feed them with the new provisions we had purchased. It was still a bit surprising how they would eat very old sea rash, combat rations mainly on number 10 cans, without hesitation. When I mentioned that to the team, I could see it in their eyes. They knew how truly starved these elves must have been to eat something that nasty, and even asked for seconds. We spent a few hours going over the plan, adjusting it where we needed to, and then it was time to gear up. Time to break down the team. In total, there would be 6 of us going. There was me, of course, my 2 explosives experts, Charlie and Hotel. Yeah, I changed the names. They both bring a fair amount of grenades and other assorted devices. I never like carrying that stuff. It kind of makes me nervous. We have our heavy weapons man. We call him Char, for break down his last name. And he was able to get his hands on a 240 Golf heavy machine gun. He may have had a lot of ammo, but I doubt it would slow him down much, given his size. Besides, I've never seen him a better shot with a full automatic ever. I mean, seriously, he keeps lighting the paper on fire with the tracers. That's how good he is. There was our marksman, Victor. He also brought his favorite, which is the M14. Seems to like that better than more of the current firearms. Though I wasn't complaining with someone who could plug a 600-meter target. Finally, there was Doc, of course, my friend. The one that had been with me through this entire ordeal. He told us that his wife said, "If you can prove to me what you are saying is true, not only can you go, but I'll make you lunch." Guess we will have to make her eat her words or something like that. It was a long night of preparing gear and staging it near the river's edge. I was grateful for not being the only diver in the group. Victor was actually level 5 certified, so getting to the other side would be a lot easier. However, I did discover that the spear that ruptured my spare air tank had also punctured my buoyancy compensator. Looks like I'll have to go without it. Wouldn't matter much since I wouldn't be crawling along the bottom for most of it. Had to do the math though. Since I had performed a dive recently, I had to make sure I was going to not get the bends from diving too often. We all set up the gear and took a nap so we would be ready to go first thing. It would be just after dusk, their time, when we started. Though now our group had expanded to 7. Doc's wife, once she realized that this was all real, was more than excited to go along with us. Turns out, she was into the fantasy and stuff like that. I warned her that it probably wasn't be as good as the books, but one look at the elves and she was all ready to go. She did get some strange looks from the elves as she brought her belongings through the mirror. She was heavy for what looked in their eyes, but in comparison to the elves, she was absurdly fat. First part of the plan was to get upstream via the scuba gear. We would have to shuttle the guys since we couldn't get them all in a single group. Victor would help me bring everyone in pairs and shuttle them back to get the next one. The crawl wasn't much of an issue, with the exception of the extra weight, of course. When we reached the water on the far end, we came up weapons ready. We surveyed the area as we slowly made it to shore. Charlie and Hotel were the first ones we dropped off. They slowly made it up the sides and were taking up positions, with the dry bags, when Victor and I submerged again. Going back downstream was much faster due to the current, but having no buoyancy made things sporty on my part. The next 2 trips were fairly uneventful. We brought the rest of the guys, leaving Doc's wife behind because she just wasn't trained for this. We shuttled as much equipment as we could until our tanks ran dry. Due to the amount of time it took to get back and forth, dawn was beginning to approach as we made our way back downstream. The rest of the guys would have to lay low for the day until we got everything else ready. For the rest of the day, I had to get all the equipment, provisions, and gear ready to go downstream. It would be far too dangerous to move that much equipment in the daylight. I tried to get a few hours of sleep while that's going on, but my nerves were just going nuts. I was able to keep the comms with the guys on the outside, but that did little to calm my nerves. My brothers took turns coming to see me. It was quite possibly the last time they would see me, so... You see, the later stages of my plan had them go back to our original world and turn off the mirror. This would keep them from being taken later. I gave the jewelry that controls the gate to my older brother, and my will and testament to my little brother. This may seem a bit morbid to anyone reading this, but you need to understand one thing. For those of us that have been deployed to combat zones, this is actually quite normal. We prepared for every contingency because every contingency is possible. It is getting late in the day and the elves are beginning to come over to us. We tried to explain what's going on, at least the best we could given the circumstances. They know we are going to get them out and that we will get moving as soon as we get outside. I don't know if it's going to be a full moon, a new moon, or even if this place has a moon to begin with. Regardless, it is going to be a tough movement since we only have a few hours before they're going to be on us. I just received word that we're only an hour at most before sundown. I guess I'll get the last of my stuff on. I just realized something. That something is all the people and places I'm going to miss. When my nieces and nephews get older, perhaps they will use the mirror to see if we truly made a difference in this new world. I doubt they will believe any of it at first. Hell, the oldest is only 12. If this is going to be my last words, I leave before this damn mirror is closed, and then I can only say this. I'm doing what I know in my heart is the right thing. A man can't really do more than that. I just got the call, and it's clear for the operation to begin. Goodbye.